All right, y'all, it's your boy Nee. I am back. We're here to finish up this episode, this conversation that we started from the previous episode. So if you don't know what we're talking about, go back and listen to the previous episode to get the full context of what we're talking about. But according to the algorithms, y'all like it short and y'all like it sweet. So listen, we're trying something new. We're trying shorter episodes. So make sure you let us know if you like this format or not. All right, Alfred, run the tape. Yeah, we are live in After Dark. We want to talk about some stuff.
We want to talk about some of the ish on our feed.
I was married to my ex-wife Claire for 4 years until I found out she had been cheating on me with an ex-boyfriend. Before all of this, I had promised to pay for Cindy's medical school costs. Once I found out that Cindy was complicit in hiding Claire's infidelity, I felt betrayed and decided to revoke my offer. So am I the asshole?
What say you, Dr. Nee?
She was a part of the whole scheme and the secrets and lies. No, not paying nothing.
The only thing I would like to know is, yo, Cindy, what school you go to? Because we need to have you on the show.
Cindy not in school. That's why. FAFSA.
I want to know
she
who
need to get
Cindy
a FAFSA.
Is. You need to be beholden.
What's the second one? Because we got to keep it moving.
We got to keep it moving. Okay. What's the second? Oh, this thing. So if you could live your life again.
If I were to choose to live my life over again,
there we go.
I wouldn't live it in this way. Do you know Winnie the Pooh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not personally.
No. The book. The end of that book bring tears to my eyes for years. Christopher Robin has to go to school, and he's telling his friends, the toy animals, that he won't be able to play with them so much anymore. And what I wasn't aware of when I went to medical school and when I was a physician is how driven I was to justify my existence in the world. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. When you're driven to work too hard, you actually ignore what matters. And what matters is what you were telling me last night about how every summer you take a bunch of weeks away from your podcast and you just spend time enjoying your kids and your wife and your family. I didn't do that. I always felt I had to keep working. And the book ends with the statement, and whatever they do, wherever they go in the enchanted forest, the little boy and his bear will always be playing together. And that phrase would bring tears to my eyes for years. People sacrifice their playfulness, their joyfulness, being driven by unconscious needs to validate your existence. And where does that come from? Again, that comes from childhood trauma. Play is so important, and joy is so important. In that sense, we can always keep playing in the enchanted forest, and that's just essential, I think.
I think we get the point.
What did you think about that one?
I think so. It boils down to, what I always say, which is like when you're giving advice to people, I think, when you're 10 years out or you're 20 years out, it's like trying to talk to a medical student. Remember that post we did? Mm-hmm. You're trying to give advice to a med student. Mm-hmm. You're like, yo, don't stress so much about, the match. And it's like the resident is going to be like, man, or the medical student is going to be like, listen, man, like you've been through this already. So of course it's not a big deal to you. But for me, like this is my like big issue right now. Of course it's going to be a big deal to me and stuff.
Right.
So I think that, obviously he has 50 year or 30 or 40 years of experience to go back and look back and say, yo, I made like the biggest mistake. And that is not connecting with my kids and all those different things. I think that goes without saying. And I think he's right. But it's really tough. It's really tough, right? Because you are, in essence, telling people who have delayed so much, and then they get to a point where they need to start working hard, making money and all those different things. It's like, yo, slow down, really focus on what's really important. When you trying to pay off student loan debt, you trying to kind of set your family up and yourself up in the future. It's really a tough thing. And basically what it boils down to is, listen, like, when do you want to hear this information? Right? Do you want to hear this information while you are in school? Do you want to hear this information right when the money's right in front of you? Or do you want to hear this information like halfway through the process? I think those are the important questions that I oftentimes think about. Is like, when are people most receptive to hearing this information? Right? Because if you tell a medical student this, they're going to be like, whatever, move on. That's how I think about it.
I mean, maybe. I mean, I've always been a person to, who kind of listens to people who are several steps ahead of me so that I'm almost committing their mistakes vicariously, right? So if I hear someone say, like, man, I spent so much time, just chasing my career, trying to justify my existence in the world based on this one aspect of who I am, then I'm more the person who's going to be like, ooh, you sound like you have a lot of regret, and I only got one life, and I just don't have room for that much regret in my life. So for me, honestly, I probably would have appreciated that even as a pre-med.
Mhm.
I think I would have appreciated that. I do agree with you that there are people who are like, whatever, you're just an old man who's just whatever. But for me, that's where I would have appreciated that. But, there's, I think he makes such a great point about the fact that, people work so hard to justify their existence. They dedicate themselves so much to this one thing that they just can't see themselves as anything else. So even the life that they're quote unquote building outside of this thing called medicine, being a husband, being a father, being a grandfather, being, whatever else, having some other skill, they compartmentalize that so much, and not just compartmentalize it, but they trivialize it as if it's not as important as this thing that I'm doing as a doctor. Like,
I think it's an addiction. I think that's what it is. It's an addiction where
right.
it's
Career
almost
addiction.
you're addicted to
Mhm.
success, and it's never enough.
Yeah.
Right. Like you look at some basketball players or even professional sports players, they're playing 20 years in, and it's just like, well, so what's
the end goal here?
What's the issue, right? Like, because it's like, well, why won't you retire? Like, you have enough, I think, right? Like, you've made millions upon millions. You're in the hundreds of millions of dollars. You've gotten all these endorsements. Your family loves you. Like, why are you still playing? It's kind of like when we talked about Tom Brady. It's like, well, what exactly is driving you? Why is this still driving you?
Career addiction.
And I think, from a doctor's perspective, it's tough, right? Because it's like, well, in order to be at the top of your game, or excuse me, a patient always expects you to be at the top of your game, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times being on top of your game requires long hours, sacrifice, being away from family, missing certain events, and so forth.
Yeah.
A lot of times that's to the detriment of your own personal.
Yeah, your own personal life. Right.
So that's the thing. A lot of times I'm wondering, like, would a patient be cool with like a doctor being kind of halfway in, halfway out?
Yeah.
Or is it halfway in, halfway out?
Dr. Love says yes. Addiction to success is a thing. It absolutely is a thing. But Love,
like if you're balanced, I think the more important question is if you're balancing, right? If you're more balanced, are you halfway in, halfway out?
So I would say no. So Dr. Love probably remembers this, but we met an older gentleman who also is an OBGYN. We met him when we were in New Orleans. He was not at the SMA conference. He didn't know anything about the SMA conference. He was not at all involved in SMA. I don't even think he knew what SMA was. But he looked like us. And he was an OBGYN, and he said, the only thing that's wrong with our profession, he's like, I'm just going to say this outright. He said, there's too many women in our profession of
I didn't catch that part. He said that?
Yes, he said there's too many women. So I looked at him because I knew there was more ignorance about to come out of his mouth. And I was like, really? Why is that?
And he's about 30 years your senior.
Yeah, maybe not 30. I'd say probably about 20.
25.
Yeah, 20, 25 years my senior. And so I said, really, why is that? He goes, because it takes two of you to do what one of me can do. And I said to Love, because Love was like, yo, what was that about? And I said to Love, I'm like, sound like he doing too much. Yeah. If it takes one of him to do what two of me can do, dude, you doing too much. And I don't think that that's halfway in, halfway out. I think that there is such thing as doing too much and then actually devaluing what it is that you're doing, that you're not giving the right amount of care, the right amount of attention to things. And patients not only complain about it, but we also know, especially in maternal health, Black maternal health in particular, that this could be very detrimental, very, very dangerous, and have grave consequences. So yeah, maybe you're doing a little bit too much. I mean, this is what it is.
So you just turned from podcast to Claire Huxtable.
This is not.
And if you don't get it together and drop these macho attitudes, you are never going to have anybody bringing you anything, anywhere, any place, anytime, ever.
This is not a podcast. It's a live stream.
Let the record
Stop
show
playing.
and stuff. Ain't nobody talk about no maternal health and all that stuff.
And also let the record show that women physicians have better outcomes.
Oh, for the record, everybody. Okay. All of my doctors
So he doing too much.
All of my
and not doing it right enough.
We can't hear you if you're talking over.
Okay.
Yo, so for the record, all my doctors are women, and I must say I'm extremely happy. Like, they do a dope job. But yeah, when he made that comment.
Exactly, love.
What did he say?
He said he lucky we was chilling. Because let me tell you, we wasn't chilling that day. And if he wasn't a CI, he lucky I respect my elders. I just kept my mouth shut. I was like, he an old man. He an old bitter man about to retire.
He sent him on his way.
And send him on his way. He out to pasture. You know what I'm saying? You shoot him in the leg and let him bleed out slowly.
Well, I think bringing it back to what we was talking about, which is, do you have do you have any regret or anything like that? I think that the key question is, part of it is, medicine attracts these type of people, right? So like, that's just the way how it is, right? Like type A individuals who, they strived really well. They did well in high school, more than likely. They did really well in med school or in college. They did really well in medical school. And they strove to be the best, and as a result, like, these things occur, right? And because of how somebody did it before you, you're going to take on that personality, except for the millennials, right? They do things differently, right? But because they do things, how they were taught by the previous generation, that's how they're going to move forward and do things. So I think part of it is that's how we recruit. Right? No matter who it is, right? In medicine, right? These are the personalities that even I'm the same way. Like, I had to slow down and be like, yo, like, if I don't change course, I'm going to end up either divorced or my kids are going to hate my guts.
Right.
So I got to figure this out and figure out a way that I can be there for my patients, be the best surgeon that I can be, but also at the same time, be Dr. Dad, be, the best husband I can be, which I am no matter what. You know what I'm saying? Because
somebody got to give you kudos.
I'm the best.
No, but seriously, at what point do you stop resume building is my question. At what point do you stop resume building, right? We had this conversation, me and you had this conversation maybe about 9-10 years ago, right? And the conversation came about because you were thinking about doing something extra or whatever. And I asked you, I'm like, at what point do you stop resume building? Like, the resume is built. Like, how much more do you need to do in order to prove to people that you are worthy? Like, for me, I stopped resume building and I literally made a hard stop after I did my fellowship. I was like, I am no longer resume building. I'm stopping here. This is it.
But I think the times now are way better now. Like, people are really considering. They're not considering, like, if you stay in academic medicine, then yeah, in essence, you are resume.
Of course, you're always
you have to resume.
building.
You have to resume build, or you will perish. What do they say? Publish or perish.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it works there. But I think once you go into community type medicine or into something outside of academic medicine, which I think a lot more people are going into, you start to realize that, hey, like, I'm competing against myself.
Yeah.
Right. And I think now you're starting to see much more. What's this?
No, Love said, keep grinding. He going back to his job. He'll be at work. Stop looking at Instagram.
Oh, man. Yeah.
In the ER.
But I do think that the whole resume building thing, that's something that people have to be really cognizant of. So who's that?
Aaron Brinkhouse.
Hi from California. What up, what up, what up, what up?
It's Aaron, right? Yeah, it's Aaron.
Aaron who?
Is it Aaron Brinkhouse? I think it's Aaron.
I don't have my glasses on.
Tell me if it's Aaron.
But anyway, we have to actually end this very soon. So
really?
Yes,
you
we
didn't
do.
want to do one more?
No. We gotta end this. Guys, listen. You see this right here?
I am the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion.
This is part of me doing balance, yo. I am on the Future app. If anybody's using futureapp.co, it is dope. So I got to work out. And I work out 6 days a week, including tonight. So I'm going to get my workout on.
You want to do the Challenger?
Oh, mine is dope.
No.
Is that the control?
No. Okay. We gonna have to work on that. We really gonna have to work on
That's
that.
what that is.
Oh my God. Oh, it's Isabel. No, don't go. I just joined.
Yo, we'll catch you. Listen, Isabel, we will be back. Just make sure you subscribe to our channel. We'll be back. But I gotta get my swole on. Come on now. I gotta get my swole on. That's
I
part of
should
my
just
balance.
stay on and talk bad about him.
That's part of my balance, all right, is making sure that I exercise. So y'all can catch me and follow me or follow us on Instagram, follow us on YouTube, and you can also see us on, can they see us on Facebook also, right?
Of course they can see us on Facebook.
Yeah, we got to do a better job. Somebody Darko's on. Who's that?
Darko? OB Darko. Are you family? Ooh. I don't know anybody named OB
Did I
Darko.
promise to pay your education? All right, y'all.
She's not going to get it. She didn't see the first part.
She didn't see the first part. All right.
Yeah.
We got to go, y'all.
Bye, guys. Wait, bye.